I see you keep these nice and clean.
Yeah, some of these need some cleaning.
How often do you launder what you wear?
Not as much as I probably should. So when I have games, like this weekend, I'll go through 3, and I sweat through everything.
So you will clean them after you sweat through them?
Yes, that's the goal. That's the goal. You don't want to, yeah, that'd be bad. We're on the fans. So like, this was the custom one. So this was really cool. So the team actually made one for me and said, we want you to actually look, because before they were so big and baggy, now they found ones that size better. And then the hat story is pretty funny.
What, tell me about that.
So, I've been getting yellow hats, these yellow top hats, and all of a sudden the company said they're not doing them anymore, and they're out of business. And they're like, well, can we just do one more, like a bigger order? It's like, no, we're done. And I was like, well, what would it take? What would it take to do one? It's like, I know you won't do it, but I guess if you did 72, I go, done. And so we bought 72. So if you go to tomorrow at the stadium, in my office, I just have all the bookshelves are just yellow top hats. I spent way too much money, like thousands of dollars but I'm good for the next, hopefully 10 plus years. And I'll tell them I need another order of 72.
That's funny. So take me through what's on the bookshelf.
So yeah, so this is all things about thinking differently. And this was one of the first ones that I, Innovation on Demand, Alan Fadden. And so I heard him at a conference when I was 23 years old, and he taught me the idea of whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. And he told you want to know how I sold my book? He goes, I bought an entire retail store for myself, and I made it a one-book bookstore with just my book. He sold a lot of books. That mindset stayed with me. So when I launched my first book, Find Your Yellow Tux, I did a world book tour at Epcot. So, and actually, this is a true story. A security guard came up and said, sorry, sir, you're confusing all of our guests as one of our Disney characters. We're gonna have to ask you to leave. So wearing the yellow tuxedo, I left, but it created a story.
Are you recognized when you have the wardrobe off?
Unfortunately, yes, a lot more than I think Emily and our family would like. The challenge is when I travel, so I'm flying today, so I'll fly out to Savannah today. Yeah. I have a yellow suitcase.
Oh, well, okay, you bring it on yourself.
Well, the yellow suitcase is just, I gotta travel with yellow, that's my color.
How often do you read?
Oh, every day. So I'm usually in multiple books at once that I'm going through, and I'm always reading because it's where I learn. So every morning, so after I write my ideas and I write in my journal, I do a thank you letter, I will do laps around here, and I'll just do laps and I'll be reading.
I understand a while back you thought your wife played a prank on you with a snake.
You learned about that one. Yes, I was on a call, and I don't stand still much, so I'm walking around and I see this fake rubber snake hanging out right over here, but it's huge. It's a fake, huge rubber snake. I just took a picture. I go real funny, and I sent it to Emily, and I'm still on my call, and she's on the bottom of the floor. Jazzy, what is that? And so we threw some things, but it didn't move. It just stayed right there. And then as I started to look a little closer, I saw a little flinch. I was like, that thing's real. So at this point, we're freaking out, and yeah, we realized that it was a real snake, and it was, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet long.
How'd you get it out?
We had to get creative with some help in the neighborhood, and we got a bucket, and there's actually a little stain right there. So we had to stop it for a little bit. Let's put it that way. Yeah. We didn't end it. We stopped it.
Lee Smith.
Yes. So that was when I was 5 years old. My dad won the opportunity for me, honorary bat boy for the Red Sox with his company, Bradley's, and I was sitting in the dugout there before the game by myself, and then he came up and sat down next to me and actually spent maybe 10, 20 minutes talking to me, and he gave me my first moment right there, and I'll never forget that. And what was amazing was, fast forward now, 35 plus years later, and when the Hall of Fame called us to put us in the Hall of Fame, he was the first person there greeting us. That moment, a player coming up to me and giving me time and making me feel like I mattered and I was special was everything.
And how amazing is being in the Hall of Fame?
That's a call you never expect. I mean, I had the dream to play at Fenway, but then to get the call, literally, I would never forget, it was from the president of the Hall of Fame and said, hey, we can't ignore you guys anymore on what you're doing with the game of baseball, and we'd like to do a special exhibit and put you guys in the Hall of Fame. And I was like, whoa. They have my first yellow hat, they had the idea book, where I first came up with the rules for what became Banana Ball. and our first box score of Banana Ball, and all of that is there to show what the game has become. Pretty special. So these are all my journals and all my idea books, except for the one that's in the Hall of Fame, which is crazy. But every year I have a different idea book where I share.
Can you open to a random page?
Let's see. All right, let's go to a random page. All right. So this is party animals ideas, June 6, 2023, parties that we can have during the game. Toga party, 80s party, pool party. I have a pedal bar entrance from the bullpen where the players are riding in on a pedal bar. A lot of these aren't good. That's the thing. They start with average and some get better. But I star ones that I end up liking usually.
So you like this guy a bit?
Yeah, I probably go here every single day and I will pull out different books and read because there's just so many parallels of what we're trying to create with how he ran his business and what he did. This was the first book I read when I was, starting out with the Grizzlies and our team in Gastonia. And boy, this talked about all the little things that Walt did that people didn't know, the stories, the things that it just blew my mind.
How does your ambition parallel with his?
It's hard to say that he was not one of the most ambitious of leaders in this generation. He dreamed bigger than anyone. So it's hard for me to even put myself up there. But, I would think from a sporting sense and a sport and entertainment, I would hope we're knocking on the door. I would hope in 20, 30 years, people would say, wow, I don't know if anyone's ever done something that grandiose and that impactful in the sports world. I hope we could be able to say that.
So it's not just Walt Disney.
Yeah. The quote that I love most about P.T. Barnum is, the noblest art is that of making others happy. When you look about the entertainment business and, again, the greatest showman, people that put on a show. I've always said, if you come to at our ballpark, you won't see game anywhere, and you won't see us using our language game. It's not a game. If the team loses badly, and you ask someone, did they enjoy the game? They might say no. But if you enjoyed the show, you can always enjoy the show no matter how the team plays. And so he was all about the show. All this group of what many people would say misfits, just like P.T. Barnum, now feel like they belong, and they're impacting millions of people. And so just that idea has always stayed with me. How do you bring people together and give them life and show that there's something that can be at a much bigger than themselves if they come together? Everything I know about business, I learned from the Grateful Dead. Awesome, I love that. It's fascinating. And then marketing lessons from the Grateful Dead, those really, really made an impact. But then even like Dave Matthews and Taylor Swift and Michael Jackson, like there's so many people in the music industry that have done things dramatically different that I learned from. Dave Matthews followed Grateful Dead. They let everyone record all their songs. They created a phone. I mean, people don't realize, Dave Matthews Band in the 2000s, 2000 to 2009, they played in front of more fans than any other musical artist. I was been a big Dave Matthews fan, and because I love the live music type event. And ironically, in 2005, I'm playing at Wofford, and we're going to the Citadel, and we had on our bulletin board for our team, it said, hey, Dave Matthews Band is shooting for their newest music video, American Baby, at our game. And all of a sudden, the producer comes up to me and goes, hey, I'm so-and-so, here's what we're gonna need you to do. This is it. The video premieres on VH1 and MTV, April 26th, whatever, at 8 o'clock. This is when they did music premieres. It was in 2005. All of a sudden, a minute in, it shows us lined up for the national anthem, a fake national anthem, and it shows me just staring for like 2-3 seconds right at the camera. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Until the next day. And the athletic director calls me in and said, Jesse, I'm sorry, you can't make the trip to go pitch this weekend. You're ineligible. I go, what do you mean? Well, because you were in the Dave Matthews Band, the NCAA is saying that you were ineligible because you were endorsing Dave Matthews Band, and so you cannot play the rest of the season. And again, I was talking to pro scouts, I was pitching every Friday night, I was a big part of this. So our coach is like, what do we do? They're like, well, you can try to get Dave Matthews Band to take you out of the video. I go, they just premiered this, we're in this. So they called Dave Matthews, they said, okay, we'll take a cut, we'll make sure we scrub it from the internet, we'll cut your part off of it, and you're out. They did send me 3 DVDs with it in, but I'm not in anywhere in it's scrubbed from the whole internet. And now think about this now, NIL and college athletes getting paid millions of dollars. I couldn't be in a Dave Matthews video. This is one of our first ever tickets, so we actually made them bananas. And so our tickets were bananas, and then the next year we did scratch and sniff and smell like bananas. So you could literally scratch the tickets and smell. Again, attention to detail.
Right.
We try to do all that stuff. Then here was down here is the Dolce and Banana underwear. So literally, yes. So we had 2 sizes of that. This is now 1. We used to have a big banana and a small banana, but the big banana outsold the small banana dramatically. I throw them into the crowd every night. So every night fans think they're getting a t-shirt, the last one, and they get a pair of underwear and they hold it up. So that's part of the fun. This is John Cena. So John Cena was a big part of our show, one of our first nights this year. So John wanted to give that. He's amazing. He was such a good showman.
Who are some of the interesting or most notable celebrities that have reached out over the years?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of different funny stories. Like Brian from the Backstreet Boys, like he wanted to play. And I was like, do you play? He's like, I played in high school. So he came out and played and sang his songs. I Want It That Way coming up. Comedians, Theo Vaughn came to it, Bert Kreischer.
Sure.
And then a lot of Cy Young Award winners. So we had Eric Gagne and CC Sabathia and Jake Peavy and Corey Kluber just pitched for us in Cleveland. So we've had a lot of players. Johnny Damon's played for us a couple times. So it's been fun.
Give me your top few in terms of people that you'd like to have come out that you haven't yet.
You go into me growing up outside of Fenway in Boston, to have Big Papi, David Ortiz come in and as the golden batter in the 9th inning, Pedro Martinez take the mound. Some of those guys would be pretty special. I know, at Yankee Stadium play there to have Jeter come back to have one fun moment. It's a lot of things I try to think about for our guys. Like,
have you been in contact with any of them?
We've had some contact with some guys, but I just some things work out and some things don't, and it's all in timing. And now now the game has become, they're not as loud to have as much fun as they may have in the past. And so I don't know the guys now that are really having fun. Like Bryce Harper gave us a great shout out the other day. He's like, I want the Bananas at the All-Star game. I want them playing against and it was awesome that he said that. I was like, Bryce, we would love to have you in the future. Yeah. And you better believe I reached out to Shohei Ohtani's team about getting him to play for the Bananas.
What did they say?
They appreciated. I had a call with them. They appreciated the reach out. They're like, we love what you guys doing. For numerous reasons, we can't do this, but because it was before he had a contract. I was like, might as well sign with us first, play a weekend with us. Join the Bananas. We'll have some fun. Yeah. I believed it would happen. I was going to put together a great offer, but I mean, I offered George Bush an internship. But then the crazy thing was, I actually heard from one of his staffers. This was back in. So I got a letter, and I heard from one of his staffers, and so sorry, he's writing his memoir. He's not able to be a part of it, and I just started. I was like, well, we really need him here. And I went with this like, no, I don't know how he wanted to take this. I kept her on the phone for probably much longer than she wanted, just as a prank. But no, you got to reach out. You take, as my dad said, you swing hard in case you hit it. And we take a ton of swings, right. and we're going to keep taking swings. And now when we have players reach out to us or celebrities reach out to us, we're like, all right, how do we make it fun? It's not just like, hey, I want to be out. Like, we want you to do something that's going to be special, that's good for the fans. And so now it's getting creative.